Hi, this is Jeff with Gamer Theory, and you're watching another one of our video reviews. Today we're going to take a look at Bulletstorm, released for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC. Came out February 22nd, 2011. Was developed by People Can Fly and Epic Games, and published by Electronic Arts. Bulletstorm is rated M for mature, and well, let's just get that out of the way. This game is one that definitely earns its mature rating. Basically on the strength of its violence and its over-the-top dialogue. In fact, the game kind of came under fire leading up to its release by some parent advocacy groups, cable news, local news. They kind of picked up on it and were concerned about the level of violence and the language in the game, and caused a bit of a stir on the online and on local TV stations. But honestly, it's just another case of a game getting singled out. Happens to a few games each year. In the case of Bulletstorm, it's really not that big of a deal because the game does allow you to filter out those extreme elements through the options. I actually made a video. If you're interested in checking it out, look at our YouTube channel and you'll be able to find the censored and uncensored comparison video. But really, when it comes down to it, the game's really not that much worse than a lot of other first-person shooters, though the dialogue does get a little bit extreme. However, this game is probably going to be remembered for that, and I'm sure that's just fine with EA and People Can Fly. Some of the other things we're remembered for is skill shot system, its huge bosses, its crazy dialogue, and a variety of set pieces that you'll encounter across the way. Another thing that is worth pointing out is this game has moments that are just much larger than life. You've got huge bosses, as I was saying, that are several times taller than the screen, and the game does a good job at mixing up those giant set pieces and then just kind of the insane fighting on the smaller scale. So you never find yourself getting bored, although the first half of the game is pretty slow in its pacing compared to the latter half. Graphically, the game is smooth as can be. No hiccups or hitches as you're going along. Even things get really intense and there's a lot of enemies on screen. The environments are really large that you'll come across, but for the most part you're fighting in pretty tight quarters. Though that makes sense given the skill shot system. You kind of want to be up close to the enemies so that you can be creative in the way you fight them. It's not just long distance shooting all the time. The color palette's pretty limited throughout the game, but the environments are still lively. As you kill your enemies, if you're creative about it, you'll earn skill points. Those skill points can be spent on ammunition, gun upgrades, as you were seeing in that clip right there. And then, it makes you more equipped to go out and do more stylish killing. Right here, I drank a bottle of beer, and as you can see, it impaired my character's vision, and the controls get really difficult. There's reasons for doing it. One, it's tied to an achievement. Second, you get extra skill shot points if you can kill while intoxicated. So right there, you can see the leash that you can use to grab enemies, pull them towards you, and it kind of enters a strange sort of bullet time where it slows down that enemy. You can also use your leash to affect things in the environment, pick up items. The leash is a big part of the skill shot system, and it transitions characters into a state where you can decide how you want to deal with them. Just straight up shooting your enemy like I'm doing here doesn't net you very many skill points, and it shouldn't, since it's the easy way to dispatch it. However, if you get creative and use the environment, as I'm about to, kills get worth a little bit more. As far as sound goes in this game, it's very rich. The guns sound good, the environments have lots of sounds going on in them, and explosions rumble really, really nicely. If there's a complaint, it would be that there's lots of kind of just generic grunt sounds and yelling that come from the enemies, and they do sound a bit silly. The dialogue is going to be a dividing thing for many people as well. While it is self-aware and they do own up to its silliness throughout, it's still going to bother some people. Gameplay is really varied. Here you're seeing how the sniping works in the game. It's kind of enters a bullet time mode, which is really neat. So the different guns, they play very differently. But there's lots of set pieces where you're going to be on turrets, you're going to be piloting vehicles, air vehicles, ground vehicles. It's a lot of fun how they mix it up with you. Another nice thing about this game is, as I was mentioning, it starts kind of slow, but then it really starts to ramp up. But luckily, as your enemies ramp up, so does your arsenal. The game progresses really well with what it lets you unlock and the weapons you come across. So as enemies get more dangerous, so do you, and it works. It's balanced really well in that aspect. The skill shot system, it really has you thinking of how to use the environment to fight. So you're approaching each encounter with an eye of how you can come about it with the most skill shot points. So it makes the playthrough really, really fun. You're always trying to play with it and find out ways to have a lot of success with your skill shot points. Overall, I think it's quite a fun shooter. Brings a lot of new stuff to the genre. Unfortunately, the pacing is a little bit uneven, but it should be a strong IP going forward, and we give it 4 stars out of 5.